So this message I was supposed to preach last week, but God had another plan, and so things went differently. And we thank God for His continuity among us, and I continually pray that God will continue to give us the discernment to know when He wants us to do certain things at certain times. And the subject of this sermon is "Great is your faithfulness." Great is your faithfulness. Now, this morning, I hold before you a truth that will sustain you when all other props in life are gone. When everything in life that you hold dear is gone and finished, and you have nothing to turn to, you could always remember God is a faithful God. Do you believe that this morning? No matter what's going on in your life right now, the stresses of life, health problems, financial problem, whatever it is, you desperate wishing, and some people the clock is ticking, they want to get married. Some, they are married, but they want to get out of the marriage. Children who have set an ache in your soul, children that you've been praying for all your life, children that you raise up in the church, and you can't see where they are going. And the death of someone that you love, somebody that's dear to you, and you lost them, and whatever pain that you are in, God's steadfast love for you will never, never, ever end. God's love renews every morning. God's love is for you. It comes every single morning you wake up. You can say with confidence, knowing that God is faithful. What He says He will do. See, there is a dawn that is coming after the night. You know that's the truth every single day. You go to sleep, no matter how bad it is. When you wake up in the morning, it's a new day, and you're ready to face it because God is a faithful God. And it is all captured in those words, God is faithful. Do you believe that this morning? So if you believe it, look at the person next to you and say, God is faithful. God is faithful. Everybody in this place, God is faithful. Hallelujah. Now, what does it mean to be faithful? When I think of someone who is faithful, I think of this story that I read about Bill and Bob. And Bill and Bob, they grew up in the same neighborhood, and they were saved in the same church and graduated from the same school. And along the way, they talk about God and talk about girls and their future. And here's the thing about Bill. See, Bob could always depend on him. And if he was in a pinch, he needed somebody or something, he could pick up the phone and know that if there was a way, Bill will find it. Sometimes Bob would voice concern about you know what, maybe I'm calling you too late, maybe there's not enough time, and Bill would answer back, and with some force he said, hey, this is Bill you're talking about. Have I ever failed you? And to this day, the answer is no. Bill is a faithful friend. It is this friend that knows you, knows everything about you, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and love you anyway. And will go the extra mile for you and with you anyway. They never doubt you. They just trust that, you know what, we are in that tight spot together. It strikes me that everybody needs somebody like that in their lives. Someone who will support you, come through for you, and stand his ground defending you. Someone who is loyal and trustworthy, constant and reliable. That's a tall order in our world where trust no one, where this is the thing, trust no one, do whatever it takes to get ahead of the other person, and this self-seeking culture where, like nobody wants. When you have a friend who sticks closer than a brother. You cannot talk about the one true God without coming to this truth. How great is the faithfulness of our God. We cannot be servant of this living God that come through every single time in our lives. That is always on time. That is always come through at the proper time for us. If you serve this God, you can say with me, God is faithful. When I think about Moses, when God laid out this plan for him to go and save the people of Israel, Moses was intimidated by this humongous plan that God had for him, because he was a fugitive, or someone that was running from the Israelites because he killed somebody. And now for God to say, hey, I want you to go back and this is what you're going to do. That is a tall order for somebody that's running away from the law. And he wanted to know, and facing all of this, he wanted to know God's name. He wanted to know, listen, when I go and say this, who do I say sent me? And God answered with his covenant name, that is Yahweh. I am who I am. I am who I am, in Exodus 3:14. And think about the meaning of the name. God took the present tense of the verb form to be and used it for his name. It is a name to express God's eternity. But it also announces that his nature and perfection, in his knowledge, will, purpose, and happiness, he always remains the same. God never changed, and that's why he's always in the present tense. I am who I am. See, in Deuteronomy 7:9, it says, know that Yahweh your God is God, the faithful God who keeps his gracious covenant, loyalty for 1,000 generations with those who love him and keep his commands. Malachi 3:6 says, God himself testifies, I, Yahweh, have not changed. Job 23:13 says this, Job gave this witness about God. He is unchangeable. No one can change God. Who can oppose him? He does what he desires. That's our God. James 1:17 says this, it says, calls God the Father of light. James calls God the Father of lights. With him, there is no variation or shadow cast by turning. And Hebrews 13:8 reminds us that Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He remained the same. He remained the same. He never changes. So that's a God we can count on. That's a God that we could hang our hat on and say, you know what? I can trust him because he remained faithful. Allow me to exalt over this truth. There are so many things we all are solid and pressed that are built on the truth that God is faithful to himself and to his children. See, because he is faithful in character and action, God has the last word on all things. Isaiah 55 says this, for just as rain and snow fall from heaven and do not return there without saturating the earth and making germinate, and God speaks, happens. Whatever God says about you, that he should change his mind. Has he said, and will he not do it? They are truth we love. Because God is faithful, God will keep me. How many want to be kept by God? He promised that he will keep you. So remember the word.